Hey friends, I'm Lydia and I'd love to welcome you to this class where I hope to support you to feel better and get into your body with some gentle vinyasa movement. The invitation of this class is to fully show up and see what happens. So let's begin in a seat. I'm starting on a blanket, so I'm sitting up on a blanket to elevate my hips. You might want to do that. And if you like to have something underneath your hands in some of the standing transitions, you could have 2 yoga bricks with you for this practice. Those are optional. Okay, let's begin in a comfortable seat. Take a moment to feel your legs on the ground. You might close your eyes for this part and tune in to your breath if that's okay for you. Your breath in and your breath out. All right, so you might open your eyes for this part, and let's lean over to our right into a side stretch. You can circle your left arm up, out, and over, and bend your right arm as much as you like to ease into that side stretch on your left side for your breath in. You could also have your arm up here and your breath out. Okay, let's circle our top left arm over our ear, catching the outer right knee, and come up into a twist to the right. So you can take your right fingertips behind you and roll yourself into a twist. Maybe your right knee is a little higher up here, that's fine too. Exhale into that twist. And then let's hang off of that left hand and reach our right arm up and twist in the opposite direction. Breathe into the spaces in between your ribs. Let it feel good for you. Okay, let's cross our right arm in front of our left, and you have a choice here to either give yourself a hug, hold onto your outer shoulders, or some of you might crisscross at your elbows and let your palms find each other. Wherever you are there, let your elbows reach forwards and up. You can take a breath into the mid-back area, which is getting just gently stretched here. And also you're welcome to freeform move around. So you might take this into a bit of a side bend, one way and then the other. And you might dig your elbows into your abdomen, curl forwards, or lift your elbows up and look up. Take a few moments to move like seaweed and get into all those sticky places. For 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's come upright here, and you can reach your arms out and up. Get tall and let your hands come down to your knees. Okay, if you need to switch the position of your legs, go ahead and do that before we take that on the other side. So left hand out to the side stretch over to your left, reach into your right ribs. Your arm can be up or up, out, and over. Your breath in, bend your bottom elbow as much as you like. Breath out. Okay, circle your right arm over your ear and catch your left knee. Come up into a twist. So left fingertips behind you. You can lift your left knee up to allow it to be caught by your right hand. Spiral around. And then we'll catch ourselves on that left knee and reach into a side bend over to the right. And notice the difference in that side bend, reaching into your left ribs. You can freeform your top arm and then crisscross your elbows. So come across, come on up, and either grab a hold of opposite shoulders there, give yourself a hug, or get a tight wrap of your elbows and let your palms find each other. Both of those options are great. Okay, so when you're here, you can scoop your elbows forwards and up. Breathe into that mid-back. Anytime you need to, close your eyes so you can drop into feeling and sensation. And see how much is good for you right now. And if you want to start that movement, you can go side to side. You can curl in, dig your elbows into your guts. Lift your elbows up. Scoop your chest forwards. And take a moment to find all those areas in your body that feel like there's cobwebs growing on them for 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's release our arms, come back upright. Reach our arms up, reach up. And let your hands come down by your sides. Okay, great. I'm just going to take the prop I'm sitting on to the back of my mat. You can do the same thing with me there. And if you're using those blocks, you might take those blocks and place them at the front of your mat. And then let's come into a tabletop position on our hands and knees. Aiming your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips, and you can tuck your toes and start to shift forwards and back. Maybe you get a stretch through your wrists here and also a stretch through the soles of your feet. Move at your own pace and lean into the support of your breath. Beautiful. Let's come to neutral, and then you're allowed to freeform move. You're actually allowed to do that through this whole practice. So you might shift your hips side to side, maybe make circles with your hips. And you might also be moving your spine, so you could come to neutral and arch your spine and round your spine. Really move like you. Give yourself permission to explore, to play, to inhabit your body. So a couple more moments. 1, you can also follow my lead. 2, and 3. Then you're invited to come to neutral tabletop again and pop up onto the knuckles under your fingers. Try to aim your armpit line over those knuckles. This will be a tremendous stretch for your hands. And then slowly lower the heel of your hands. So if you're on devices, you're texting a lot, this one's great. So you can pop up onto your knuckles, try to shift forwards, press into your knuckles, slow, lower. Let's do that one more time. Pop up, just like that, shift forwards, lower down. And if you want to, you can shake out or twirl out your wrists or your hands, and then aim your fingers to the top of the mat, index fingers straight forwards, tuck your toes, and reach up and back into a downward facing dog. This shape, you might pedal out your feet, bend one knee, straighten the other leg, and switch. Noticing your breath and those sensations that you're noticing. What are the just right amount of sensation for you, or what is the just right amount of sensation for you? And then taking your time to walk your feet towards the top of your mat. And in that movement, you're welcome to pop up onto your blocks if you want that support. And halfway lift here, lengthen out, and then fold forwards over your legs. Your legs might be way bent. And we'll do that 2 more times. Lengthen out, halfway lift, long spine, long neck, and forward fold. Last time like that. Stretch out your spine, your neck, straighten your arms, and fold forwards over your legs. Let's hang in a forward fold for a couple of breaths. And here you could hold opposite wrists or elbows, dangle. Maybe make a little movement side to side for your breath in, your breath out. Shift your weight into your heels. Take your arms out to the sides and reach all the way up to stand. You can reach your arms up. You can look up. And release your arms down by your sides. Okay, let's take our arms up, press our feet down. Touch the sky, fold forwards over your legs. Find your blocks or fingertips to the floor. Let's step our right foot back into a long lunge here. Then we're going to drop our right knee and untuck our back toes. And if you have tender knees, go ahead and put a blanket underneath your knees. Okay, so that's an option. You can pop up onto the high level of your blocks, and you can shift your hips back here, so much back if you like that your left toes pop up and your left leg goes towards straight. And then shift forwards into your low lunge shape. Okay, we'll do that a couple more times. At your own speed, shift back and shift forwards into that low lunge. If you like, when you shift back, you can round your spine and exhale. When you shift forwards, you can arch your spine, maybe look up and inhale. Let's try that one more time. Exhale Inhale. And then the invitation is to stay a little forwards. You might walk your blocks more underneath your shoulders. Another option, if you don't have blocks, is to take your hands to your hips. Press into your feet here, and if you're sinking a lot and you feel cranky in your low back, try moving your hips a little over your back knee to hold this shape. Some of you might want to stay here, and some of you might want to reach your arms up. Take a breath in, maybe even bend your elbows out to the sides, and flip your palms back and your elbows forwards. Take a breath in and out there. And then we're going to take our hands back down to the floor, or maybe your blocks there, and fall into your right hand. So you might take your block on its low level or your fingertips, and then turn your left toes and your left knee a little out to the side. You can take your left hand on your left knee here and start to turn yourself into a twist. Some of you might feel like kind of being on the top of your back kneecap, bending your back right leg, and circling your left arm back and seeing if you can reach for that foot, maybe catch the foot for a breath. Tremendous quadricep stretch here. And then circle yourself all the way back forwards. Okay, fingertips on the floor, blocks under your shoulders. Tuck your back toes. Reach up with your back knee, and then we'll step into a forward fold. Top of the mat. Lengthen out there and fold. Press into your heels, take your arms out to the sides, come all the way up, reach up, maybe a little up and back, and then release your hands down by your sides. Let's do that on the other side. Reach your arms back and up, touch the sky, fold forwards, touch the earth or your blocks there. Take your left foot back into that long lunge. Walk your hands more underneath your shoulders, and you can drop your back knee and the top of your foot. So again, feel free to pad your back knee here. We're going to shift forwards and back, and you might shift so far back that those right toes pop up off the ground. Shifting back and forwards. And you can do this with your breath. Exhale back and inhale forwards. Let it feel good. You don't need to make the movements huge. Make them that just right amount of movement for you that gets into those sticky areas. So invitation again, as you go back, you can round your spine and exhale. And as you come forward, you can arch your spine, maybe look a little bit up. One more time like that. This might feel really good for your hips. Okay, you can stay forwards here, maybe walk those blocks more in, maybe bring them up onto their high height. And if you feel like you're sinking too low, lift and bring your hips over your back knee a little bit. Press into your foundation here. You can also take your hands to your hips. Maybe squeeze your shoulder blades a little together. And if you want, circle your arms up, reach up, look up. Let your low back reach for the sky, and if you want to, you can bend your elbows, flip your elbows forwards and your hands back. Broaden through your collarbones, reach your chest bones towards the sky. And then we're going to come all the way down with our hands. So here, we'll fall into that left block, or fingertips or hand to the ground, and you can turn your right set of toes and your right knee out to the side. Bring your right hand on your right knee and start to find a bit of a twist. And again, if your low back is cranky because you're dropping too low, press into your feet and lift out of it a little. Some of you might want to orient to the top of your back knee. Maybe make a big movement with your top right arm to reach back. Maybe bend your left back leg and see if you can reach towards your foot a little, or maybe catch your foot. Take a breath in there. Take a breath out. You can release wherever you are. Circle your right arm up, out, and over. Turn towards the front of your mat. And this time, we're going to place our hands down and step back into a downward facing dog. Yeah, pedal out your feet. You might even bring your feet right together at the back of your mat. Bend your knees a little and shift your hips to one side and then to the other, rinsing out through your spine. Okay, let's come into the center there. Roll through kind of like an angry cat shape through your back into a plank. You can take your knees down if you want, and then lower all the way onto your abdomen slow. 3, 2, and 1. From there, let's take our hands back behind, palms facing up, toenails to the ground, and then lift our legs a little, lift our chest. And instead of thinking high here, think long and lift your arms. If you want, you can take your arms back behind you, lower your chest a little, try to interlock your fingers, and then reach your hands up and back. You can also keep your hands by your sides and breathe into this cobra or locust variation. For a breath in, long back of the neck, breath out. And then release that. Take your hands out front, stack one on top of the other. Let your legs drop and let your forehead drop onto your hands. And melt through your back, maybe wobble your hips side to side. Okay, let's do this again. So we're gonna lift up, take our hands back, and bend our knees this time and bring your feet together and towards your seat. Okay, so you might kind of look over one shoulder and grab one ankle, and then try to look over the other shoulder and grab the other ankle. You could also do that at the same time. And then take your forehead back down to the ground. Take a breath there. Press your pelvis into the ground and start to reach back up into a bow shape. So you can reach your chest forwards, reach your ankles back, try to get as long as you can, maybe rock a little bit in this shape. If you have trouble reaching for your ankles, you can do this kind of floating. It might even be a little more challenging. For 1, 2, and 3. Let's release that down, hands out in front, stack your hands, forehead down, legs release, maybe wobble through your hips a bit. So good. Okay, hands by your shoulders, tuck your toes. You can come up onto your knees here, press up. Maybe you come right up into a plank shape, and then lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. Lift your right leg up and back behind you, and then you can lift your right leg a little higher. Open your right hip on top of your left and bend your knee. Let's circle out our top ankle there. You can come up onto your left tippy toes if you like. Lift your right knee a little higher and press into your hands to clear out your low back. And then let's bring our right knee towards our right wrist. Okay, so out to the side, out to the right a little bit. Ease your left knee back, top of your foot back, and keep your front right foot pointed. Now, some of you might want to put a prop underneath your hip there and elevate your hip a little bit. You can let your hips drop a little back and down, and maybe crawl down onto your elbows. Okay. Allow yourself to soften and melt towards the ground any amount. And some of you might also come up a little and orient your front right shin more towards a 90 degree with a flexed foot. That's an option if you want more sensation in your hips. You could also start to walk yourself a little over towards your front right knee and come into a little bit of a twist. Maybe for some, you slide your left hand, your left shoulder towards the floor and come onto your left temple. All of these options are valid and you can try them out, come out of them, find that just right space for you. Breath in. Breath out. Okay, let's walk it back forwards. You're also welcome to linger there for a little longer. Tuck your back toes, lift your hips up. Reach your right leg back into that down dog shape. Maybe bring those feet right together again, knees together, bend your knees, and move your hips a little left and a little right. Imagining that you're opening up that tight sheet of your back that sometimes can get a little bound up. Okay, feet together, back of the mat, left leg up and back, lift it a little higher, open your left hip on top of your right, roll out your top ankle, maybe come up onto your right tippy toes, lift your left knee a little higher, and you might press your arms towards straight and clear out your low back. Left knee into that pigeon shape, so left knee to the left wrist, right knee to the ground, maybe block it, walk the knee back, settle down into your elbows perhaps. And see if you can let a little tension go out of your hips. Again, some of you might choose to move that front shin a little more forwards, parallel with the front of your mat. Totally optional. Maybe close your eyes. Notice if you're expecting something out of this shape and drop into this moment now. That's the invitation here. Fully show up and see what happens. Yeah, so you might walk yourself over to that left knee, maybe a little bit of a side stretch there, perhaps that right arm across, right shoulder down, right temple down. You can always practice this again and see what variations pop into your practice, what you want to try out next. You've got lots of time. So your breath in, your breath out. You can walk yourself back center there, hands downward facing dog shape there. Tuck your back toes, lift your hips, take your left leg back to that downward facing dog, pedal it out. Roll through onto your knees, tabletop shape, and let your left arm reach up. And then twist your left palm up underneath your right armpit, left temple to the floor, and give yourself an upper back twist, and you can press your hips back here. Last shape for today. Okay, let's come back up onto our tabletop position. Right arm up, reach, spread your collarbones wide, and right arm under. Right temple down. Aim your hips back. Your upper back twist. And then come on back up into your tabletop. Any little freeform movements you want to explore. Maybe there's some new ones there for you. And you're invited to either come into a seat, or if you're feeling like it, flip yourself over onto your back. So sometimes if you're feeling a little more tired, being on your back can feel really supportive, more of you in contact with the earth. Or you can be in a seat if you're feeling just a little more speedy and like that's what's going to be supportive for you. You're welcome to keep your feet planted, or you can outstretch your legs. In whatever shape you're landing in here, let yourself take a breath in and exhale it out of your mouth. Maybe even make a sound. And here you are. You've arrived. And if you have time, let's take a minute of silence. Perhaps watching your own breath, the rise and fall. And just a reminder, you have nowhere to go, nothing to do for this minute. You can just fully be here. So you're welcome to stay here for as long as is supportive for you. But if you'd like to close your class now, you might wiggle through your fingers and your toes. Maybe bring in a bigger breath. And you can take your arms over your head. You can stretch out there through your fingers, through your toes. And roll over onto one side if you like. When you're ready, you can roll your abdomen more down towards the floor and press into your hands and meet me in a seat. Grounding down through your sit bones. And if it's a gesture that's meaningful for you, you can take your hands together at your chest, at your heart. Maybe bow your head and take a moment to acknowledge the work that you did today, to show up for yourself so that you could feel better, so that you could make choices that support you. Thank you so much for being here today. May you have peace.